Everybody,
Rabbi.
this week's parsha is Parshas Ki Tavo, and Parshas Ki Tavo actually is one of the two parshas that have the rebukes, the Techacha, a section of the Torah that contains the rebuke and punishments of what happens when we don't follow what we're supposed to be doing. So this is the second time, and the second time that it's mentioned, it actually comes usually 2 weeks or 3 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. And the first time that this happens in the Torah usually comes 2 weeks or 3 weeks before Shavuos. And the reason for that is to separate a little bit between the actual opposite of blessings and the holidays that we go into. But what's interesting to note, the difference between the Techacha, the rebuke in this week's parsha, and the rebuke in the earlier part, is that in the earlier part, the parsha, it only has 49 curses. And in this week's parsha, it has 98 curses, which is exactly double. So what's the reason for that? So there are different commentaries that explain the difference between the first one and the second one. One represents, in a sense, God doing it. That's more compassionate. The other one represents Moshe Rabbeinu. One represents Bayis Rishon, the first destruction. One represents the second destruction. One represents a time that we knew why we sinned, or it was a little bit more on a higher level, wasn't so bad. So there are different explanations, but there's a Hasidic interpretation that it takes it to a whole nother level. And that is as follows, that when you have something very precious and you want to put it into a vessel, you got to make sure that vessel is clean. You got to make sure that vessel is appropriate to be able to contain that. If you put wine in silver, it's not going to work. Right? There has to be wine, has to be in glass. So there has to be, the vessel has to be proper, and it has to be clean. If it's not proper, it's not clean, so then whatever is going into it could get ruined. So too, when it comes to Rosh Hashanah is a time of the head of the year, so there's a cleansing that we have to go through. It may be a little painful, a little discomfort for a couple of minutes, but there is a cleansing that is necessary for us to go through before Rosh Hashanah. So this part of the Torah, in a sense, that when it comes before Rosh Hashanah, it's here to guide us, to clean us up a little bit before Rosh Hashanah, so we should be able to take in that spiritual light, the blessing, the energy for the whole year on Rosh Hashanah. The same thing when it comes to the first time that it says Techacha, rebuke in the Torah, is also a very auspicious time. It's a time before the giving of the Torah. The giving of the Torah is what makes us a nation. What makes us a nation that we received and that we are dedicated to the Torah mitzvahs is that we accepted it, we got it, Hashem gave it to us, right? So there is this idea that too is a time of renewal, of renewing your vows, your dedication, and your learning, your studying, and your fulfilling the Torah and the mitzvahs. So that's also a time that we get a little bit of a cleanup. There's a time of the year that you have to check everything, make sure everything is working properly. So this is a positive way of looking at the rebuke. That's not necessarily directly punishment, but rather it's more of a cleansing time for us to go through the process of making sure everything is set up and ready to go for the light that is coming on Shavuos and the light that is coming for Rosh Hashanah, for the New Year. May Hashem bless us that we should be able to do what we need to do, and we should be blessed with a year of happiness, joy, and health. And we should be able to accomplish all our life accomplishments and to be zeicher to the ultimate blessing of the coming of Mashiach. Amen.